Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever thought about the quiet but honestly incredibly urgent crisis unfolding right now in the mobile gaming industry? I mean, right behind those bright, colorful little icons on your phone, game studios are battling a brutally stagnant market. Today, in this explainer, we're going to explore exactly how these developers are fighting tooth and nail to keep their games alive, and, while more importantly, how they are keeping you playing. Just to quickly walk you through our roadmap for this explainer, we're going to start with the harsh market data, the stuff keeping developers awake at night. Then, we'll shift over to the industry's big lifesaver, live operations, or LiveOps. We'll break down exactly how they monetize with payment events, how they hook you with playable events, look at the big trends dominating the space right now, and then wrap it all up. Right. Part 1. The mobile market slowdown. Okay, to really grasp why mobile games operate the way they do today, you've got to understand the absolute wall new developers are hitting. Listen to this number, 0.7%. That is a massive wake-up call for the entire industry. Last year, mobile game revenue growth was sitting at a fairly healthy 3.2%, but for the 2024 to 2025 window, it completely plummeted down to a mere 0.7%. The pie just isn't getting any bigger, meaning studios are ruthlessly fighting over the exact same slices. And when you look at the breakdown here, sure, downloads slowed from 6.0% to 4.1%, which isn't great, but the revenue drop, that is the real drama here. Revenue is practically tapping out at $55.5 billion for the year. Think about that. People are still hitting download, yeah, but they are getting much, much more hesitant to actually open their wallets. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is who exactly is hoarding all of that money right now. It's a complete monopoly by legacy titles. Games released way back between 2015 and 2020 are taking home nearly half, 49% of all top grossing revenue. Meanwhile, the new kids on the block from 2023 to 2025, they're scraping by with just 22%. So if you're a new developer, you're not just fighting other new games. You are up against 10-year-old juggernauts that have spent a literal decade perfectly optimizing how to keep players hooked. So, how do you combat that? How do you retain players and survive against those legacy giants? Well, that brings us to Section 2. Enter live operations, or LiveOps. Before we go any further, let's clearly define what this lifeline actually is. LiveOps basically means limited-time occurrences and in-game developments that happen entirely without needing to push a new version, update to the App Store. And this is key. If a feature is stable, permanent, and just sits there forever, it does not qualify as LiveOps. LiveOps is all about the temporary, the urgent, the you gotta play this right now kind of energy. And it essentially boils down to two main pillars. On one side, we've got payment events. As the name suggests, users have to pay to participate. If there's a buy button involved, it sits right here, and the target is straight up direct monetization. On the flip side, we have playable events. These are open to everyone, even the free-to-play folks, and their ultimate goal is pure engagement and retention. Basically, one targets your wallet and the other targets your time. Let's look closer at that first pillar. Section 3. Monetizing with payment events. Let's dissect exactly how these payment strategies work. When a studio wants to trigger a payment event, they usually lean on 4 specific tactics. First step, live promotions. These aren't your boring everyday store items. They're surprise, time-limited deals meant to catch you totally off guard. Second, we have straightforward bonuses, like a massive 24-hour flash discount. Third is a series of purchases. Think of it kind of like a digital loyalty card. Buy 3 items and you get to pick a free bonus. And finally, the trickiest one, special mechanics. This is where you might say, buy spins on an in-game slot machine to win premium currency. It literally turns the act of spending money into a mini-game itself. Moving on to Section 4. Engaging with playable events. Now, you obviously can't just ask players for money all day long, right? You have to give them a real reason to log in every single day. That's where playable events come in, the fun, free mechanics that keep the game feeling fresh. The baseline here are missions, simple tasks like, hey, earn 50 coins today. But then you have temporary content, which is honestly brilliant. Imagine a game has this super cool late-game feature, usually locked behind a year of gameplay. Through a temporary event, devs can give brand new players 24 hours of free access to it. It monetizes the hardcore loyal base while completely thrilling the newcomers. Throw in functionality enhancements, hello, double XP weekends, and special free-to-play mechanics, and you've built an ecosystem that constantly rewards players just for showing up. Which brings us to Section 5, Trends Dominating LiveOps Today. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're talking about. We've seen the mechanics, but let's look at the actual data to see how top studios are deploying these strategies right now in 2025. These analytics are trusted by over 350 absolute industry leaders. We're talking massive companies like Google, Sega, and PlayerX. And what this data reveals is that 65% of the top-performing games using these deep live ops strategies belong to the mid-core genre. Mid-core games, like those deep RPGs and strategy titles, have absolutely weaponized the science of the live event. But wait until you hear this next number, 89. That is the average number of LiveOps events happening per month per game right now, 89. That is nearly 3 entirely separate events launching every single day. Just last year, that average was only 73. So the sheer intensity and density of these schedules are accelerating at breakneck speed, with new event launches usually hitting a massive peak in the spring as devs push their latest experiments out into the wild. Now, when we zoom in on what those 89 monthly events actually look like, there is one undisputed heavyweight champion: collection mechanics. They show up in a whopping 80% of games. Developers know perfectly well that human beings are just hardwired to collect things and complete sets. Compare that to more niche events like fishing or expeditions, which are only used in under 20% of games. Interestingly, specific event formats like win streaks and lava quests saw a massive spike this year. We're talking over 50% growth. So the crucial point is that this growth isn't necessarily coming from developers inventing brand new event types. Actually, it's driven by them cramming more of these proven, highly competitive events into tighter, denser schedules. On top of that, mechanics like gacha and albums are actively expanding out of casual games and bleeding heavily into mid-core and hybrid casual genres. All right, let's wrap this up. Section 6. Conclusion. Look, the mobile market in 2025 is dealing with some intense stagnation. Revenue growth is practically flatlining. To survive against these untouchable 10-year-old legacy games, developers have kicked off an absolute arms race of live operations, running almost 100 events a month just to keep your attention and ultimately your wallet engaged. So I want to leave you with this one final provocative thought. As we look at this perfectly calibrated cycle of payment and playable events, this constant barrage of limited-time psychological triggers, we really have to ask ourselves, are we playing these mobile games? Or are they, with their endlessly optimized live op schedules, actually playing us? Definitely something to chew on the next time you log in for a double XP weekend. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.